Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's lesson, we're diving into the brilliant mind of Hamilton Helmer. Now, Hamilton Helmer is one of the best business strategists in the world, and he is also the author of the influential book Seven Powers. In today's lesson, we're just going to look at the very short part of his conversation with Lenny on Lenny's podcast. I personally watched the whole thing and I found it very insightful, so if you're interested, I'm going to leave a link in the description below. But without further ado, let's get started.
Warren Buffett famously said, in business, I look for economic castles protected by unbreachable moats.
Power requires a benefit and a barrier. You have to have something that you do that gives you a better outcome than your competitors, lower cost or higher price, and then something that makes it impossible for somebody else to mimic that. So moat is the second. It's not synonymous with power because you could have a moat around a very undesirable piece of property.
Warren Buffett famously said, "In business, I look for economic castles protected by unbreachable moats." Okay, what is economic castle? An economic castle is an analogy for a business that has a strong foundation. It can be a business with a powerful brand. It can be a business that designs a unique product or provides a unique service. What is a moat? A moat, in its general sense, is a trench that is filled with water surrounding your castle so that it makes it hard for your enemy to attack your castle and invade it. What is unbreachable? Unbreachable, so first of all, a breach is, when we talk about a data breach, for example, it's when hackers attack your site and steal your sensitive data. This is called a data breach. So when someone breaches something, it means they are breaking into something or breaking through something. You can break through a wall or a barrier. So unbreachable means the opposite. So it's impossible for somebody to break through the barriers that you set. In business context, that means a competitive advantage that your competitors cannot copy very easily. So it can be patents or trademarks. It may be the fact that you have such a big brand and a big company so that you can operate at a lower cost without sacrificing quality. Okay, so let's now break down the sentence. Warren Buffett famously said, so the first syllable sounds like a, famously. Second syllable is short, famously. Said, it's not said, it's said. So it's just said. Warren Buffett famously said, in business, I look for, connection here, look, very short, for, so for, if you say it slowly, it becomes fur if you say it fast. I'll look for economic castles. And when you say I'll look for economic castles, you need to put more emphasis on economic castles. I'll look for economic castles because this is the subject of a sentence. Every time there is a subject, it kind of is emphasized within the sentence so that everyone knows what is the main point of what are you saying. Economic, stress here, economic castles. There is no T, it's just castles. Protected by unbreachable, again stress goes like this, unbreachable moats, moats, unbreachable moats. Let's try the whole sentence together. Warren Buffett famously said, in business, I look for economic castles protected by unbreachable moats. Second time, faster. Warren Buffett famously said, in business, I look for economic castles protected by unbreachable moats. Okay, second sentence, Power requires a benefit and a barrier. You have to have something that you do that gives you a better outcome than your competitors, lower cost or higher price. Okay, now I want you to pay attention to the blue words: power, a benefit, and a barrier. So why power has no article and benefit and barriers have articles? So we have two types of nouns, and you probably already know that. There is countable and uncountable. Barriers, I can count barriers: one barrier, two barrier, one benefit, two benefits. Power, when I talk about the power in a general sense, it's uncountable. Same as coffee, experience, hair, you cannot count it. However, and not many people know that, non-native speakers know that, but some words can be uncountable in one context and become countable in another. So when you talk about power in a general sense, it's uncountable. When you talk about some sort of specific power, a power of persuasion, a power that I've created, you have to use an article, because now it's like one power of the many other powers that exist. A power that you've created, a power of persuasion, a power of seeing in the dark, and things like that. So it's the same. Here's another example. She has lots of experience, general sense. That was a nice experience. That was a nice experience. So I'm talking about specific experience. So this time I had to use an article. Okay, what is an outcome? An outcome is your result, your benefit, in this case probably profit. Okay, let's break it down. Power requires, this is Z connection here, E requires, stress on here. Power requires a benefit, and a connection here. There is no D, N is stronger, it cancels the D, and a barrier, You have to have something that you do. You have to, you sounds like yeah, you have to, connection here. This whole thing sounds like have to, have. You have to have something that, connection here. There is no ing, it's just n, and there is no th, it becomes n again. It's like one long n connecting, linking those two words. Something that you do, again short, you do, that gives you a connection here, z here, gives you a better, this is a flap T, so it sounds like a D, better outcome than your competitors, than your short here, competitors, lower cost or higher price. Put more emphasis on the nouns, and A or B, lower cost or higher price. Okay, let's try the whole thing together slowly. Power requires a benefit and a barrier. You have to have something that you do that gives you a better outcome than your competitors, lower cost or higher price. Faster. Power requires a benefit and a barrier. You have to have something that you do that gives you a better outcome than your competitors, lower cost or higher price. Okay, I messed up a little bit, but it's okay. Right, now sentence number 3. and then something that makes it impossible for somebody else to mimic that. Okay, makes it impossible. Great phrase. Use it when something influences something else. So this makes it impossible. It makes it hard. It makes it difficult. You can use it in the opposite way. It makes it clear. It makes it better. It makes it more digestible. And you can also use it when you talk about the feelings. So, for example, it makes me happy. It makes me feel awkward. It makes me question a lot of things. Okay. Mimic means to replicate, to copy. Okay. And now let's break down the sentence too. And then, so again, and sounds like N, no D there. We link, and this linking sounds like a big N, so there's no TH. And then, something that, again, something that, connection here again, long N, something that makes it impossible, linking, makes it impossible, like one word, makes it impossible for somebody else to, short, it's not to mimic that connection there, mimic that. Okay, let's try the whole thing. It's quite simple. And then something that makes it impossible for somebody else to mimic that. Okay. Last sentence. So mode is the second. It's not synonymous with power, because you could have a mode around a very undesirable piece of property. Okay, it's not synonymous with is an intelligent way of saying you cannot use the word the mode and the power interchangeably. Okay, those two words, they're completely different. The mode is not an alternative to the power. Okay, two different words. So this is the meaning of it's not synonymous with. And then undesirable, it basically means that nobody wants it. Something that is undesirable, it's something that nobody needs. Okay, piece of property is interesting, because it kind of goes back to my previous point when I talked about power and a power. So with piece of property, when I say this is my property, I'm basically saying this belongs to me. Okay, when I say this is my piece of property, I'm saying that this is my house, this is my land. So I imagine in my head a house or a land that I'm talking about. If I say this is my piece of property, this is my land, okay? And when you just say this is my property, you're using it in a general way. So you're just saying this belongs to me, this is my property, this belongs to me. I'm not imagining a house or something. I'm just saying in general, using a general idea of the word property. So I hope that makes sense. Right, let's now break down the sentence. So mode is the second, is the second. Linking is the second. It's not, is not, this T is very, very weak. Is not synonymous, synonymous with power. This with is very short, you barely can hear it. Synonymous with power, synonymous with power. And then after this with, you get this power. Synonymous with power, synonymous with power, synonymous with power. Because you could have a, it's very short, you could have a, you could have a, no, you could have a, you could have a, you could have a mode around, stress on the second part, around a very, around the very, stress on the first part, very, undesirable. So this part, undesirable. So stress goes like here. So this part is quick, and then desirable. It's Z and I. Undesirable, 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 undesirable. Piece of property. Piece of, so we don't have this F, so it's not off, it's just a. Piece of property, piece of property. Property, stress on the first syllable, property. Piece of property. Let's try the whole sentence. So mode is the second. It's not synonymous with power, because you could have a mode around a very undesirable piece of property. Faster. So mode is the second. It's not synonymous with power, because you could have a mode around a very undesirable piece of property. There you go. So this is the end of the video. I hope you find it useful. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of it, and consider subscribing. Have a lovely day. Bye.